What if humanity's survival rested on one final chance to outwit an alien empire that has never known defeat? In the dying embers of Earth's once thriving cities, an eerie silence hung like a suffocating shroud. The stars above glimmered coldly, indifferent witnesses to the destruction below. The ground trembled faintly as the last remaining human resistance prepared for their boldest, and perhaps final, move. Amid the ruins, a lone figure stood atop a crumbled skyscraper, his silhouette outlined against the flames consuming the horizon. General Ethan Voss, humanity's reluctant hero, clutched an ancient pendant in his hand, a relic of Earth's forgotten past, now imbued with hope for its future. "Status report," Voss barked into his earpiece, his voice steady despite the storm raging in his chest. "All units in position," came the reply, tinged with static. "We're ready to initiate the chronolock when you give the order." Chronolock. The one trump card humanity had managed to develop after years of desperate research. A technology stolen from their alien oppressors, it was their last, fragile hope to turn back time and undo the invasion that had shattered their world. But to activate it, someone had to infiltrate the Zelran mothership, the heart of the enemy fleet, brimming with soldiers and technology light years ahead of anything humanity had ever known. As Voss turned to survey the ragged army behind him, his heart clenched. These weren't soldiers, they were survivors. Engineers, medics, scavengers, and children who had grown up knowing only war. But their eyes burned with the same fire, a fierce determination to reclaim the home that had been stolen from them. "Tonight, we end it," Voss said, his voice carrying over the crackling flames and groaning ruins. "For the billions we've lost. For the Earth we've loved. We fight for what's left." The soldiers erupted in a guttural roar, a collective cry that pierced the night. As Voss descended into the makeshift war room, the stakes weighed heavily on him. Could this be humanity's final chapter? Or would they rise from the ashes like the phoenixes of ancient lore? Recap of the entire video. In Galactic Wrath, Earth's last stand in the final war, we dive headfirst into a harrowing battle for survival, revenge, and redemption. Survival, Earth lies in ruins after years of relentless assault by the Zelran Empire. Humanity has been pushed to the brink, but against all odds, they've uncovered a weapon that could shift the tide, a stolen alien artifact capable of manipulating time. Revenge, General Ethan Voss leads the remnants of the human race in one final mission. Haunted by the loss of his family, he channels his grief into an unyielding drive to bring the fight to their oppressors. Transformation, as the lines between hero and villain blur, the story forces us to question what humanity is willing to sacrifice to reclaim its place in the stars. Prepare for an emotional journey packed with breathtaking action, gut-wrenching decisions, and a glimmer of hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Will humanity rewrite its destiny, or will this be their last stand? Stay tuned. The war for Earth is far from over. The Earth no longer spun with the quiet hum of life it once carried. Instead, it groaned under the weight of its destruction, its surface fractured and barren, a scarred reminder of humanity's defiance and the relentless grip of an alien conqueror. The skies were a bruised expanse of deep purples and reds, streaked with the faint glow of distant stars barely visible through the haze of ash. Once lush forests now stood as skeletal remnants, their charred trunks jutting into the sky like the fingers of a dying giant. Cities that once sparkled with light and life had been reduced to sprawling graveyards of steel and stone. Rivers ran sluggishly with water polluted by the debris of war, their once clear currents now tainted with streaks of oily black and crimson. The air carried a metallic tang, heavy with the scent of burnt ozone and the acrid sting of scorched earth. Above, the heavens were filled with the silent menace of the Zelran fleet. Monolithic vessels, their surfaces dark and angular, hovered like massive predators waiting to strike. Their sheer size blotted out the stars, casting long shadows over the ruined landscape below. Smaller craft patrolled the skies in eerie silence, their movements precise and calculated, like a deadly machine always on the hunt. Despite the bleakness of the scene, faint signs of life clung stubbornly to existence. In the depths of the wreckage, underground shelters buzzed with quiet determination. These makeshift sanctuaries, lit by dim, flickering lights powered by salvaged energy cells, housed the last remnants of humanity. The soft murmur of voices and the hum of old machinery filled the air as engineers pieced together broken tools and scavenged materials to prepare for one last battle. The alien invaders, the Zelran, had come without warning. Their empire stretched across countless systems, a force that consumed and conquered with ruthless efficiency. Earth, rich in resources and positioned strategically in the galactic quadrant, had been a prime target. The invasion had been swift and devastating, leaving humanity little time to adapt. In the years since the first attack, Earth's resistance had evolved from fragmented uprisings to a unified force driven by desperation. The ground itself bore the scars of countless battles. Craters marked the sites of fallen cities, twisted metal structures jutted from the earth like forgotten monuments to resistance. Overhead, the atmosphere buzzed faintly with the charge of ionized particles, a lingering reminder of the weapons used to decimate the planet's defenses. There was no peace, no stillness. The tension in the air was palpable, a grim awareness that every breath could be the last. Yet amid the devastation, a fragile sense of hope flickered. Humanity had one final card to play, one last chance to turn the tide of war. In the oppressive silence of this shattered world, the stage was set. Earth's last stand was about to begin. The sound of distant explosions rolled across the desolate wasteland like a thunderous drumbeat. High above, the Zelran mothership loomed, its angular silhouette cutting through the bruised sky. For weeks, it had remained stationary, a dark omen perched in Earth's atmosphere, signaling the endgame. Yet tonight, its lights pulsed with a strange, synchronized rhythm, casting an eerie glow over the ruins below. Something was happening, something ominous. Deep within the underground resistance base, an urgent alarm pierced the low murmur of activity. Red warning lights bathed the cramped corridors, casting jagged shadows on the walls. The air was electric with tension as resistance fighters scrambled to their posts, their faces etched with a mixture of determination and dread. They'd begun mobilizing, came a voice over the comms, sharp with urgency. The mothership's hangars are opening. They're deploying ground units. A shiver rippled through the room as the transmission ended. The Zelran had not launched a ground assault in months, relying instead on their orbital supremacy to suppress human resistance. The sudden shift in tactics was unexpected and deeply unsettling. "What are they planning?" a young technician muttered, her trembling fingers hovering over a console. No one answered. The truth hung unspoken in the air: whatever the Zelran were preparing, it would be catastrophic. Outside, the alien forces descended like a swarm. Sleek, insect-like machines skittered across the landscape, their legs digging into the ashen ground with mechanical precision. Hovercrafts glided overhead, their engines emitting a low, pulsating hum that resonated in the bones. The resistance fighters watched from the safety of their shelters, their breaths held as the enemy encroached on their fragile stronghold. The first shots rang out, a sharp staccato of laser fire that lit up the night. Resistance fighters retaliated, their makeshift weapons crackling with energy, but they were painfully aware of the disparity. Against the Zelran's advanced technology, their crude defenses felt like throwing pebbles at a tidal wave. Inside the base, whispers of doubt began to spread. Could they withstand this assault? If the Zelran breached their defenses, the resistance would be obliterated, and with it, humanity's last hope. But even as fear threatened to take hold, the resistance clung to the sliver of hope that had kept them alive for so long. They had faced impossible odds before. The question now was simple: could they do it one last time? The resistance base trembled as another explosion rocked the surface above. Dust rained from the ceiling, coating the dimly lit war room in a fine, choking layer. The air reeked of sweat and ozone, and every face in the room was turned toward the central screen, where a grainy feed of the Zelran mothership loomed ominously. "Attention," a voice crackled through the intercom. "Priority signal from Recon Unit 7. The screen flickered, and a shaky live feed from a drone appeared. It zoomed in on the Zelran mothership's open hangar bay. Inside, resistance leaders glimpsed something that sent a collective chill through their ranks: a colossal, pulsing sphere of energy suspended in the ship's core. Tendrils of light snaked out from its surface, latching onto smaller ships and machinery like a beating heart pumping lifeblood into its body. "It's a fusion core," someone whispered, their voice trembling. No, came a grim reply from the Resistance's chief scientist, an older man with piercing eyes. It's worse. That's a planetary annihilator. If they activate it, Earth will be obliterated in minutes. The room fell into a stunned silence, the weight of the revelation suffocating. A young scout broke the tension. They're powering it up. We need to act now. Panic erupted, voices overlapping in a cacophony of fear and urgency. Plans were hastily debated, discarded, and reworked. The clock was ticking, and every second wasted brought humanity closer to extinction. We have one option, the chief scientist declared, silencing the chaos. He gestured toward a holographic blueprint of the mothership. We have to sabotage the core before it reaches full charge. But how? Someone demanded. Their defenses are impenetrable. It's suicide. Not if we use this, another voice interjected. A young technician stepped forward, holding a small device no bigger than a human palm. The chronolock. We've integrated it with a self-destruct mechanism. If we can plant it at the core, we can reverse time long enough to stop this invasion before it ever began. The room froze as the gravity of the plan sank in. It was their only chance, but it would require someone to infiltrate the mothership and manually activate the device. I'll do it, a voice said firmly, cutting through the tension. Heads turned toward the speaker, and a sense of grim resolve settled over the room. The mission was set. Time was running out, and failure was not an option. The final stand had begun, the mission was underway, and every second felt like an eternity. Outside the Resistance base, the landscape was alive with chaos. Alien war machines advanced in unrelenting waves, their metallic forms shimmering in the dim light of Earth's shattered atmosphere. The Resistance's defenses groaned under the weight of the assault, and the air was thick with the sound of laser fire and the screams of combatants. In the midst of the chaos, a small strike team emerged from the hidden tunnels beneath the base. They moved swiftly, shadows against the fiery backdrop of destruction. Their target was clear, the Zelran mothership. Its massive form hung in the distance, a monolith of death and despair. Between them and the alien vessel lay miles of hostile terrain swarming with enemies. The ground shook violently as an explosion erupted behind them, scattering ash and debris into the air. One of the team members glanced back, catching sight of a Resistance turret being obliterated by a Zelran walker. The sound of falling metal and distant screams stabbed at their resolve, but they pressed forward. Above, the sky was a surreal battlefield. Resistance fighters piloted salvaged aircraft in daring raids against the Zelran patrols, their crude weaponry no match for the alien crafts. Explosions lit the heavens, casting fleeting shadows across the ground as both human and alien vessels spiraled to their doom. As the strike team reached the edge of a jagged ravine, their first major obstacle loomed. A massive Zelran outpost stood between them and the mothership, bristling with automated defenses and patrolling sentries. They huddled in the shadows, their breaths shallow as they formulated a plan. "We can't take it head-on," one of them whispered. "We'll have to disable the power grid. It's the only way to create an opening." The group split into 2 units, each tasked with a dangerous objective. As one team moved to plant charges on the outpost's power lines, the other provided cover, engaging the sentries in a desperate firefight. Every step forward came at a cost. Each explosion, each life lost, was a stark reminder of what was at stake. Yet, even as fear and exhaustion gnawed at their edges, the strike team pushed on. The closer they got to the mothership, the heavier the air became, charged with the hum of the Annihilator core. Time was slipping away, and the mission's success hung by a thread. The strike team breached the perimeter of the Zelran outpost, their movements quick and calculated. Sparks flew as the charges detonated, plunging the alien compound into darkness. Alarms blared, their shrill tones slicing through the chaos. The team's cover was blown, but the temporary power outage gave them just enough time to slip past the automated defenses and into the mothership's shadow. The air inside the mothership's hangar was oppressively still, yet charged with an electric hum that resonated deep in their bones. The massive Annihilator core pulsed ominously in the distance, its light casting eerie shadows on the metallic walls. As they moved closer, the scale of the core became apparent, it was larger than they had imagined, its intricate design far more alien and advanced than anything they had prepared for. They paused as a faint sound echoed through the cavernous space. It was not the mechanical drone of the mothership, but a soft, rhythmic tapping, almost like footsteps. The group exchanged wary glances, their weapons raised. Then, they saw it. Emerging from the shadows was not a machine but a figure, humanoid in form, yet unmistakably alien. Its translucent skin shimmered in the pulsing light of the core, revealing a network of veins that glowed faintly. In its hand, it held a crystalline device, radiating the same energy as the Annihilator. The team froze, unsure of how to proceed. The alien tilted its head, as if studying them. Then it spoke, not in words, but in a strange telepathic resonance that filled their minds. "You are too late," the voice echoed within them. "The annihilation is inevitable. But there is another truth you have yet to uncover." Images flooded their consciousness, visions of Earth, not destroyed, but thriving under Zelran rule. Cities rebuilt, landscapes healed, humanity itself transformed into something different. The alien's voice returned, calm and unwavering. "We offer salvation, not destruction. The Annihilator will purge only the old world, making way for a new order. Resist, and you will perish with it." The weight of the revelation crushed them. Was this a lie, a ploy to sow doubt? Or had they misunderstood the Zelran's intentions all along? The team leader clenched their fists, forcing themselves to block out the alien's voice. The mission could not falter now. The Annihilator had to be stopped, no matter the cost. There was no turning back. Only the final choice remained, trust or defiance. The Annihilator core pulsed violently now, its glow filling the vast chamber with an unholy light. The strike team stood on a narrow walkway above the core, sweat dripping from their brows as the vibrations of its energy coursed through the metal beneath their feet. Around them, alarms wailed, and alien sentries closed in, their movements precise and relentless. The team leader held the chronolock device tightly, their knuckles white with the pressure. The plan had been clear: plant the device on the core's stabilizer, activate the time reversal mechanism, and escape before the mothership's failsafes triggered. But the alien from earlier now blocked their path, standing between them and the stabilizer. The figure raised a hand, and a shimmering force field erupted around the core. "Your defiance is futile," its telepathic voice reverberated through the chamber. "This world's fate is sealed. Do not throw away what little remains of your kind." But there was no time for hesitation. The leader signaled to the rest of the team, and chaos erupted. Explosions rocked the chamber as they engaged the alien forces swarming around them. Gunfire and laser blasts filled the air, the sounds echoing off the walls in a deafening cacophony. The leader broke into a sprint, weaving through the chaos. The alien figure lunged forward, its movements unnervingly swift, but a member of the team intercepted it, tackling it to the ground in a desperate sacrifice. With seconds to spare, the leader reached the stabilizer. Their hands trembled as they attached the chronolock to the pulsating machinery. The device beeped, its small screen flashing with countdown numbers. 10 seconds. A sudden, searing pain shot through their side. Turning, they saw the alien standing once more, its crystalline weapon aimed directly at them. "You cannot undo what has already begun," it said, its voice tinged with finality. Summoning the last of their strength, the leader pressed the activation button on the chronolock. A blinding light erupted from the core, and the world seemed to freeze. Time warped and twisted, and the alien let out a soundless cry as it was engulfed in the wave of energy. The leader's vision blurred as they collapsed, the last thing they saw being the core imploding in a cascade of light and sound. The fate of the Earth now hung in the balance, as the final moments of the past and present collided. A silence deeper than death blanketed the Earth. The blinding light of the Annihilator core's implosion had vanished, leaving behind an eerie stillness. The skies, once choked with smoke and ash, now gleamed a pale blue as if cleansed by the impossible forces unleashed in the final moments. The Resistance base, hidden beneath layers of rubble, stirred with cautious hope. Survivors emerged from their shelters, blinking in the unfamiliar brightness of the day. The air felt lighter, no longer carrying the oppressive weight of the Zelran presence. But the cost of this fragile peace was evident. The battlefield was littered with the remnants of machines, alien and human alike, there still formed stark reminders of the sacrifices made. At the heart of the destruction, near the ruins of the Zelran mothership, the strike team leader lay motionless. A faint hum surrounded them, the last vestige of the chronolock's energy. Their chest rose and fell weakly, a miracle amidst the devastation. As they opened their eyes, the sky above was a tapestry of colors, the auroras left behind by the core's collapse painting a picture of renewal. Nearby, the alien figure's crystalline body had fractured, its light extinguished. It lay as lifeless as the machines it once commanded. The leader sat up slowly, clutching their side, and gazed around the ravaged landscape. The Annihilator core was gone, erased from existence. The chronolock had worked, but at what cost? In the days that followed, humanity began to rebuild. The Zelran fleet had vanished, seemingly erased from time itself. There were no more attacks, no signs of alien life. Scientists speculated that the chronolock had created a paradox, one that wiped the Zelran invasion from history. But the scars of war remained, both on the planet and in the hearts of its people. For the strike team leader, the burden of memory was heavy. They alone remembered the truth of what had transpired, the sacrifices, the doubts, the impossible choices. As they walked among the survivors, seeing laughter and hope rekindled, a sense of quiet fulfillment settled over them. Cities were slowly rebuilt, their silhouettes rising against the horizon like promises of renewal. Survivors worked together, their shared struggle forging bonds stronger than any division that once plagued them. For the first time in years, the future felt uncertain, but not in the shadow of fear. Instead, it shimmered with possibility. Yet, deep beneath the surface of this newfound hope, questions remained unanswered. The chronolock's effects were still a mystery. Scientists debated the paradox it had created. If the Zelran had been erased from history, why did the memories of the war remain for some? What if the erasure was incomplete? In the quiet aftermath, as humanity began its slow recovery, strange phenomena were reported. Lights in the sky. Unexplained power surges. Faint whispers in the minds of those who had fought in the final battle. Survivors spoke of visions, brief flashes of the Zelran, not as conquerors, but as something else entirely. At the edge of Earth's atmosphere, a fragment of the Zelran mothership remained, orbiting silently. Its surface shimmered faintly, as if alive, emitting a soft, rhythmic pulse. The fragment was too small to pose a threat, but its presence was unnerving. What had the chronolock truly done? As the strike team leader stood atop a rebuilt observation tower, they gazed up at the stars. The auroras left by the Annihilator core still danced faintly, a reminder of the cataclysm they had averted. Their thoughts drifted to the alien's final words, "You cannot undo what has already begun." The leader's grip tightened on the pendant they wore, a relic of their past, a reminder of everything they had fought for. The stars above felt both familiar and foreboding, as if they were watching, waiting. And then, a faint glimmer caught their eye. A distant light, moving against the backdrop of the night sky. Was that, they whispered, their voice trailing off. For now, humanity had earned peace. But the stars held secrets, and some battles are never truly over. If you're curious to see what happens next, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and stay tuned for more as the story of humanity's survival unfolds.